Hi, everyone. Today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to take on a little bit of a small project. I'm going to make a productivity tracker from scratch. So let's get to it. So, first, let's take care of our headers. We know we definitely want a section that tells us if the task is done, what date we entered it, um, what is the title of the task, the category that it falls under, whether or not it's a priority, what date it's due, how many days until the due date, and the status, whether or not I've started it or not. And lastly, who assigned it. So for each one of these, you're going to have to determine how you want it formatted or whether or not you want a particular field to have a certain list. I'm going to review how it is that I put mine together, just in case it inspires you to do it a certain way. So let's get started. So for done, I just added a checkbox. I formatted my dates this way. It might be that tasks being organized by year are not important to you, so you could always go to format and change the number format to be a different style. The task, what team is it for or what's the nature of the task? I just put something very generic in here. For categories, I just put it under three different groups. You decide what those groups are. It might be a team that you're on, it might be something else. Priority, pretty standard stuff, high, mid, and low. And due date, I kept the same date format. Days left, and it's okay if you want to pause here to kind of copy this down. But you'll notice that I have in here a very long formula of if statements. It's either going to respond if it's blank. If it's due today, it's gonna turn out the words due today. If it's past the due date, it's going to be overdue. And then there's a small formula in here to subtract from today's date. So you're welcome to just copy that in if that's helpful for you. For status, I only have three. I have in progress. Oops, that's a typo. Let's change that to not started. My apologies for that. And lastly, who assigned it. So depending on who you report into, Bob or Jane, or a Billy or a Jill, like whoever that person's name is, you're welcome to add their names as well. Okay, so this is all nice and everything, but we need to kind of try it out and see if it works. So this looks pretty good, but we can make it a little more visually easy on the eyes by just adding some quick charts. So what do I mean by that? Well, if we want to just go by category, we could take the category section, scroll all the way to the bottom. That way, any new assignments will also be considered. And we can just insert a chart. And there you have it. I'm just going to move it a little bit over here, resize it. There you are. And then we can do the same thing with how many tasks we have by priority. Again, going to highlight everything. Okay, I'm going to do insert a chart. And just to change it up a little bit, I'm going to make it a different type of chart. I'm going to make it, instead of a bar graph, I'll make it a column graph. Keep them the same size. Okay. And then I can do the same thing for who's assigning me the most work, right? So if I highlight this all the way down in case there's a new one, I can do insert and chart. Okay. And for this one, let's make it a pie graph, donut graph. Now we can see where most of my attention is going. From there, it's pretty simple to just click on each graph and you can customize them a little bit. Like I would go and rechange these titles. Task by category. Task by priority. And just go task by assignee. Okay. And then we want to do something about these colors. I feel like these could be better too. So we're just going to highlight everything. And let's go to format. Just change the header, make it a darker blue. There we go. And let's make the font in that a little different. Let's do white. And let's change the font. Let's make it so that it's assistant. There we go. That looks a little better. Cool. You could go further and just style these in any way that you want. Obviously, that's a little bit more specific, and you're tailoring it to whatever needs you have. But yeah, now you have a clean data set for what it is that you're working on this week. All right, hope that's helpful. Thank you for stopping by.